So today we are going to have one really exciting panel with three excellent professionals. The first one is Jelena Djurovic. She is a dedicated professional currently serving as a partnership manager at Global FinTech Pioneer, where she is building and managing the European regional ecosystem through establishment of affiliate and strategic partnership. Her career has been marked by significant contributions, including her latest role as the Serbia's country ambassador for the European Women Payments Network, where she passionately fosters inclusivity, diversity, and innovation in the finance industry. Miroslav Milivojevic is an engineering professional graduated from the electrical engineering in Belgrade. Today, he is an experienced iOS developer with a huge history of working in the development in various information technology sectors. He worked at the Infobip, TomTom, BStorm, MM Corp, IGSoft, and Twint, among others. Currently, he works as a senior iOS developer at Liquid Text, and we are really happy to have him here. And finally, our third panelist is Stefan Dejanovic. He holds a master's degree in computer science from the University of Novi Sad, and his professional interests are related to security, artificial intelligence, cloud computing, scalability, and blockchain. Currently, he's focused on designing scalable, reliable, and replicable distributed systems with the utilization of artificial intelligence. He's actively involved in a new startup, Gap App, which he co-founded with his brother, and in Gap App, he has the role of CTO. So I hope that you will enjoy, because we have a really diverse variety of backgrounds and industries at the table. So Jelena, first question is for you. In your experience, how have large language models impacted the evolution of financial services, particularly in terms of improving operational efficiency and customer experience?
Thank you for introduction, Sandra, and for this question. Not to add too much to my background, just for audience here to understand, I've been 2 years in this global fintech, before that also in some fintech companies, but most of my career, 15 plus years, is within the banking sector. I don't have engineering background. I understand this is a data science conference where the audience must be majority from the engineering side of business, but I'm here to speak more about the business side and exactly what you asked me about customer experiences and how it is affecting all changes in the sphere of AI with this new generative AI hype this year, how it affects the business side. So in the fintech area, I have to say that AI is not something new, so it is more evolution than a revolution, but definitely there are big steps that are noticed by the customer when some old-fashioned chatbots, which were used to just give answers like yes or no, something which is obviously a machine, now can answer in some different manners. So it definitely is something as a step forward, although we don't still have them as much. What I can say is that the most of the use cases of AI and machine learning, which has a long time been there in fintech industry, is used in customer service, in customer support, and in compliance. In compliance, for example, I can say about the company I work for. This is Pioneer, which is global fintech enabling cross-border business between businesses. So we've recently deployed a tool, not so recently, but this year, a tool that analyzes 30 million transactions per day. So it is something that is really giving some new quality to the output that we are giving. So we are basically deploying it in fraud detection. It is something that I'm sure that across the industry is used a lot. What I can say about newest deployment of this large language models and this recent generative AI in the business are some cases that I've learned from big banks, actually, not from fintechs, but yeah, it seems that they have caught the first train to there. Basically, on one of these largest fintech conferences, they were speaking about how in 1 or 2 months, very fast, also they deployed 2 different use cases. One was to actually make summaries of transcripts of conversations that sales and customer support people were conducting with the clients. So it is something that apparently was raised their efficiency by 15 to 20%, not only by shortening the time of making these summaries after the call, but also making those people more present in the call. So you probably all know how it looks like when you have to both think about what your client is saying, to understand him, to hear him. On the other side, what you're going to answer or ask a new question, and then again to take notes. So it is something that is really helping because, and the main difference here is, as I understood, that generative AI can go through the hustle of this unstructured data and the language, basically, which is something to see these slight differences. The another use case, which I find very interesting, is also smart search, which was helping the customer support staff to better answer the claims and any different questions that arise through the conversation. So both are somewhere very low. So these are not some groundbreaking use cases, but still it is important that we have some, and it's definitely something that caught the attention of all businesses in this sphere.
Thank you. Miroslav, how can large language models be harnessed to unify and synthesize information across diverse documents and projects, contributing to enhance decision-making and productivity within enterprises?
Okay, so basically, just to put everybody in a context, yeah, thank you for introduction. And I have more than 10 years, I believe, of experience as an iOS developer, and current company where I'm working is a liquid text company, and our main product, and the only one basically, is the PDF reader and the note-taking app. So this application is intended to be used by the knowledge workers of any kind. It's not super specific. So anybody who has like a large amount of documents that need to read and make some conclusions based on that reading, or not just to make conclusions, but to learn something new, or yeah, to work on it. It's super helpful because it's speeding up process, and we are making like a best of both worlds, like digital and manual or physical world, actually. So imagine that you have like a big table full of papers or documents, and then you need to actually make conclusions based on reading in one document, on another document, on a third one. And what you're usually doing, you're putting some colorful sticky notes and then writing something on a side. And it is like traditional and nice approach, but the thing is that then when you need something fast to find out in that process, then it's a problem because you're stuck with your table, and you again need to go through all those documents, at least to go through these sticky notes. But another problem of digital world is that you can have all of this in your storage, but presentation is like impossible. You need to have like a big table, which is obviously not the case. People usually using iPads or their PCs or any kind of a small screen, even the mobile phones. So we try to mix the benefits of both worlds into single app, and to speed up the process of learning or working with large amounts of documents and informations. And one of the main customers, or actually our recent niche, it's law business, so law offices and government agencies, courts, and other people that are like into maybe not directly into like into court, but into patent registration or stuff like that. But it's not only intended to be used by the lawyers and people from the law industry. Students are like huge portion of our clients because it's super easy for learning, and you can have like all you need in single place, and speeding up a process, taking notes on the side, referencing from these notes back to the documents, and it's super fine. But what is really important, the missing piece of puzzle that really improves this process, is the moment when we actually introduce LLM model into all of this. So basically, imagine that you have a project of maybe 10, 20, 30 documents, and then you need to find out something quickly. So you can easily just type a question, and based only on your documents, will give you the answer immediately or in a couple of seconds, and only based on your documents that you provided in that project. And not just that, but we also provide you the sources where we actually find the right locations where we make conclusions that this is like a right answer. So you can go back to that sources and validate that this is actually not wrong, or at least is in a wrong context. We know that the LLM is not perfect, and there's need for double check, but yeah, that's that's a way how we like doing that in that context. Regarding the other things, imagine that there's like maybe 5 people that working for, or 5 assistants that working for one lawyer, and they got like 50 or 100 or couple hundred documents that they need to go through and read it and make some conclusions, and they put all these conclusions in the notes on a side and make references back to that documents. And for some of those things, you need maybe 3 or 4 documents open at the same time, like on a table, as at the very beginning, as I said. So you can see multiple documents, you can see the references between those documents, and then you can make notes on the side and figure out something from the context, particular context. And later on the same project, there's a lawyer that's giving like final word on that, go through all these comments or notes and making conclusion. And the really important thing is that he can see where these comments come from. So he can see the thread of how the assistant figure out what is the comment exactly. So he can like go through the history and see what's the situation. In that case, it's super useful. But addition on that is that this lawyer is on a court and on some trial, for example, and he quickly need to figure out how to postpone the next or prolong that process, because he figure out that he needs to do that for some reason. He can quickly jump into his iPad, type that question, and refer to some particular law that will give him adequate answer to the judge. So it's a lifesaver in that moment.
Thank you. Stefan, this was a great opening because you'd also have you'd also work in the legal field. So what challenges do you anticipate in the widespread adoption of LLMs within legal frameworks, and how might these obstacles be addressed effectively?
Thank you. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Sandra, for introduction and for the question. Yes, our startup Gap App is a legal tech startup. We're focusing on cutting non-billable time and basically delivering a new way of service, basically reshaping the expert service delivery. When we speak about LLMs, and obviously we're all witnessing what's ChatGPT doing and OpenAI in the last conference, what they said that they're about to do, we're witnessing it's gonna even be more improved, and it's gonna even have more features on it, especially on the operating systems where they're heading and going. But speaking with legal, let's say industry, and not just legal industry, but organizations, we're coming to a couple of problems and challenges that we need to address. The first thing is security, right? So if you're working with an organization and you want to use your LLM or artificial intelligence to improve your work and to improve your business, you need to think about what about security risks. Are you possibly going to leak some important confidential information? Are you going to do some kind of a data breach or something like that? So that's first thing that should be on mind of organizations, and it is. And organizations are right now really cautious about using LLMs and generative AI because of that. Even Samsung banned usage of ChatGPT because of the data leaks. So we need to think about what are the security implications and security risks when we want to use LLMs and artificial intelligence to improve inside of our organizations, because it's a different thing than using a public ChatGPT. The second thing, what I would say, is accuracy. What I mean by that is you can have public models and you can have private AI models. So it's a completely different thing, because public model might not fit in your organization, might give you wrong accuracy and wrong things, and it can create wrong conclusions. Having your private model within the organization that you can actually train in your own way, using a different model from the starting point, may be better, so you can actually train it on your organizational cultural needs and what exactly do you want to achieve. So you're not relying on the public data anymore here. You're kind of like going to your own, creating your personal and private organizational model, which basically connects to the first thing, which is security. And the last thing, what I would say, is the change management. So especially in legal industry, it's hard. I mean, the change management is really, really tough. You can have the best tech in the world out there, but if the management is saying no go, then that tech will not come to that organization. So from the change management perspective, they will need to understand and they will need to adapt to the new technology and see how can they use it to benefit and to improve their organization. So those are the three problems that I would see.
Thank you. Jelena, what do you think, well, actually, how do you envision that large language model will influence the collaboration within financial sector, especially considering the perspective of transforming of business processes or change management?
Yeah, exactly. It's really coming right after Stefan mentioned these issues. And Partnerships have recently been a top topic in finance for some years now, and it is not new. I think it's ripening the idea that even banks want more and more to partner with fintechs and with other startup companies which are somewhere in the innovation space where they didn't still get really. So I think this is just going to be more present with these LLM models, because everybody wants to tap into that field and to get part of the efficiency due to these new technologies, especially this current situation where the money is not so available. There are not as many capital investments, and many startups are losing cash. This is a hard time economy now. But even besides partnerships, we're going to probably see even more acquisitions. Also, one due to some security and situation with these things where some big companies want to keep inside some data that are sensitive, and to keep from going somewhere out, or even to keep the technology and ideas inside. So it is very interesting area, and I'm sure that smaller companies that are excelling in these skills and in the AI are going to be more and more wanted as a partnering side for any big tech or big company or big bank. In that direction, I also wanted to mention Payoneer also acquired actually a data company this summer. So they are acting in the field of e-commerce insurance. Basically, they are doing smart assessment of companies that are in e-commerce sphere. They will help definitely build our underwriting and analytics of companies, and how to make finance more accessible to them. So definitely it is happening, and this is just one example in the fintech sphere, but I'm sure that there are many more out there already, and we also witnessed that the year started with the biggest of all acquisitions of that kind with OpenAI and Microsoft. So it is there already.
Thank you. Miroslav, now back to you. How do you envision, where will we go? In which way can LLMs actually revolutionize the document handling and annotation, and actually what we have seen from your use case, real-time decision support, critical decision support system during the real-time processes and things like that, which are really time-critical use cases?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. And maybe to answer to that question, I can give you another use case, how we are actually helping our customers to improve their work in annotation and in the note-taking. And this is a situation where you're reading a huge document and you find something super interesting. And maybe it's a good idea to give some example. For example, if you're a student and you have your book, at least that when I was in faculty, or I had like electronic books, and everything was in PDF. And I also have like lectures and all that stuff in some PowerPoint presentation, whatever. So you can put, as a student, all these things into single project, and then start reading the book, and for example, find something super interesting that you need to take a note on a side. And while you're taking that note, the AI can figure out where this thing comes from. So mainly, like at least the AI will give you the offer to create a link back to the original source. So it's definitely not the same text as in a book. It's your own words, but we figure out where it could be. So it give you like reference back to the book or the lectures or whatever. So later on, when you go through your notes, because there is maybe 200, 300, 500 notes when you're preparing the exam, because you are working after every class, you take a note and put it on a side, and when you're preparing final exam, you just go through your notes because you have everything there. And then you figure out that something doesn't make sense in some note, but you don't know where this note comes from. Is it from your mind, or did you just imagine it wrongly, or this is actually from the book? So if there is a reference back to the book, so you can always go there and maybe read 2 or 3 paragraphs around and figure out that maybe it's maybe you're wrong. Usually books are pretty much okay. And it's giving you the trace how you came to some conclusions. Yeah, also like interactive learning. It's also the another option, which is again, as a student, you put all these things into one project and then just start reading, and you don't understand some concept, and you put and you place the question on a side, and you got the answer, particularly from that book, that is based on the content of the book, to be precise. So this is like a different level. Previously, you need to read the whole book to understand what is inside. Now you can ask a question, and the book will give you the answer. So it's definitely another level.
Yeah, in education is a really good use case. Stefan, from the perspective of Gap Up, I see that it's really interesting, not only automation and scaling of legal and compliance consulting, but also you have mentioned a really important point, which is assuring security in applying artificial intelligence, which I think is one of the critical points when we go into the production in industry.
Yes, exactly. So what we are doing in Gap App, so we are guaranteeing that the final users, the organizations, they're going to have their own private model that they're going to work on, and they're going to train using the tool, which is our app. So that model is going to adapt for their needs. They're going to train it, and they can actually, after that, utilize it to be more productive. So we focus on, our use case for AI is efficiency boost, right? So everybody wants to be more efficient. So we are focusing on legal compliance and tech consultancy. So businesses or consultancies using Gap App, what they want to achieve is they want to achieve more revenue, more money, right? How they're going to achieve that is they need to cut their non-billable time. So this is what we are trying to focus on, is cutting down organizational non-billable time so they can focus more on billable time and earn more money. And applying AI into that field, doing that non-billable time work, is that efficiency boost that we can get. Especially those repetitive tasks that can be automated, but applying that on your own private organizational model is something that you can then utilize, because it's basically organizational data, and it's valid data, and it can be replicable on every other case that they're using their own business model. So this is how we are focusing on efficiency boost. And now, obviously, there are different kinds of AI and let's say types of LLM that we can use in the industry or in the app. There are like classifications, summarizations, right? Generative AI. Need to be careful there, especially with choosing the model, because not every model is right fit for your use case. If you want to do a summarization, or you want to do some kind of a text-to-text processing. So probably GPT is not going to be right for you because it's more creative, right? So GPT tends to be more let's say good in if you use it in the creative industry, like write me a narrative, create a picture or something like that. So you need to be careful about choosing a right model for you, and then train it for your particular needs.
Thank you. Now we are appreciating also the audience because you are staying here and not running to the lunch. So do we have any questions from the audience? I see quite a few familiar faces, so.
Do you have any questions?
So then I will carry on. Beside this security, which I think it's extremely important, can you probably comment on how much effort should be taken on the client side if we want to fine-tune and customize the model, especially for that client? What size of the, I would say, time and development time do you think we need to invest? Yes, for you, Stefan.
So from the perspective of the end user, right, of the client.
Yeah, from the client.
Well, everything is oriented for client needs to use the tool. So the tool is let's say the shaping application is a tool for creating and training and basically creating that model, private model. So as much as you use the tool, the better the AI you will create, because every single thing that you are putting inside, you're putting inside your own knowledge base. So every organization is different. So this is why it's important for every organization to maintain their own knowledge base. And from that knowledge base, we'll create efficiency basically, and create own answers that you want to do and you want to take. And more that we create the knowledge base, which is currently, especially in legal industry right now, and also in other industries, is lost in emails, right? In Word documents, in somewhere, right? And okay, so it's not a problem of unstructured and structured, but it's lost. It's somewhere written in emails. And if you can shape all of that, and if you can create that for your own organizational knowledge base, then there is a huge improvement, because then you can maintain the knowledge base, and then you can improve your work, automate your work, and then improve efficiency out of it.
Thank you. Jelena, you have mentioned that you are also having this fraud detection. Have you ever considered how large language models may be helpful into this direction, maybe in detecting claims for some fraud transaction during the conversation or things like that?
Yes, for sure. I mean, as I said, it is something that will definitely be out there, but those use cases are maybe not the ones that will be readily shared. I'm sure that the company where I work in is already working on these use cases and how to improve all this. I mean, in payment industry, basically fraud, anti-money laundering, compliance issues are the biggest ones. Actually, while I was working in a bank, it was more about the underwriting and giving out loans. And in these companies where the main thing is to prevent dirty money or anything which is fraudulent in any way to move around. So it is definitely something that can be harnessed, this new technology, to combine with all the other data sources that are available. So in those combinations to richen the final output. It is certain.
Thank you. And Miroslav, do you think that you will go beyond text, maybe to annotation of images or something like that? Because it can be useful if you are supporting real-time decision-making, that not only textual material but also visual is provided.
Yes, that's correct. Like most of that is interesting, but most of our content, especially from the lawyers, are scans.
Scans.
And that's how they get it from the court, and that's in most countries that's the procedure, and it's like that. And now this is not related to the LLM, but we have like other mechanisms like document replacement, which give us the opportunity so we can have like one big document of either text, scans, images of some or any other stuff, and this proofs that they get from the court is usually like 20,000, 30, 50,000 pages, and when the lawyer requests for a better scan or new proofs or stuff like that, they got the same document again. So maybe now this is not 50,000 pages, but maybe 55,000 pages. And there's a huge amount of notes that is written there already, and because like a lot of people already used to work on this document, so document replacement will figure out which pages are like switched with the new ones with a better resolution, for example, or just completely replaced with the new pages, which one is inserted, which one is deleted. So you can create a kind of a new document with the new pages, and you can keep working on your previous work without big issues.
Thank you. Now, any questions from the audience? Now we have one.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. So my question is to Stefan. You talked about data leak. You talked about organizations having to have their own knowledge base. So I think that is also very important. So looking at OpenAI, for example, so maybe an organization or a startup, right? You're looking to use LLMs to transform your business and, make profits. So what would you advise? Would you say maybe have your knowledge base and then maybe fine-tune with OpenAI's models? Or would you say create your models, host your models, and have that full control? Because, you have all these security issues, you have data leak, as you mentioned, you still have like all these gaps. So which is more of the, looking on the side of costs, right, management, and all these factors, which one would you say is like optimal?
Well, there is no one size fit all, right? Every use case has its own approach to take. What we did in GapApp, we chose in our own paths or our own model that we train and use on our servers. So we are not using a subscription towards OpenAI. The benefit of that is you basically get that model, you put it on your machine, you train it there. So you're responsible of security issues. You're responsible of managing all of that. If you want to have the great performance, you need to pay for that, because the graphic cards to get some kind of good output of that are expensive, especially on cloud servers nowadays. So you need to count that in if that actually works for you. And I would definitely go for that option, because from my opinion, it's better, because then basically you have the control of your model, what's coming out of the model, how you train the model, all the security issues and risks. But it comes with price, and it comes with more work around management. Regarding the other path, which is OpenAI and using their subscription model and basically relying on that, you can still use private models within the OpenAI. So it's not going to go publicly. It's still going to stay with your basically account tenant out there. So it's a good thing to do, maybe even a starting point, but definitely to do a research, right? Choose what suits your organization and what suits your use case. Don't just go in one direction. Choose both directions and see what works. Check the OpenAI out. How does it work? if it fits your needs, especially regarding security needs, right? But again, I say you can even have private model in the OpenAI, but basically you're dedicated to GPT model. It might be that it's not suitable for you. Check all of that like we did, right? We did the research. We checked what are the benefits of using OpenAI. We tried OpenAI. We tried the subscription model, our private model. We tried other large language models like Llama, Bard, and stuff like that. And then we decided, okay, this is what we're going to do because this fits in our use case.
Okay, thank you.
We do have another question.
Yeah, I have also a question on Stefan. So if you would implement large language models in your company, but just internally, like let's say you have SOPs, standard operating procedures, which everybody has to read, and you know how it happens. People just scroll through, and I mean they're tedious. People don't like to do it, but there are certain points of time where it comes, it's like what, and you wonder what was actually there, right? So I'm just thinking about this use case, and so for instance, if you build something like that for your own employees so they can search fast, right? Like what was there, for instance, are in this case any security issues possible? How data leakage could come out? Can you comment on that?
Right. Well, definitely I think that falls down in summarization, right? So you want to summarize different, huge document set, right? So you definitely need to think about, I mean, if it's under the organization, right? So you don't want to do that on public. You don't want to, you don't want to, copy the text and put it on ChatGPT and, say, summarize this text for me, right? Because of the security risks. So definitely the benefit will be to need to use your own private model on that and create it for your organization. And it's kind of like, I mean, it's not that hard anymore because you have a ton of pre-trained models. Like you have a Hugging Face website, which people right now put, huge amount of different kind of models. It's a good starting point that you can easily create a, small proof of concept to start seeing what we're getting from.
Your model trained privately, are there any additional security issues that can come up using it? I'm a novice, I'm fairly new to large language, but let's say we build a model on premise or for our company, not on ChatGPT. Is there something else which you have to be concerned in terms of data leakage? Are you safe?
Well, definitely. I mean, those are the different organizational procedures regarding where is it maintained, where is it stored. I mean, but it's not connected to large language model anymore. Now it's connected to your infrastructure, right? Is it in cloud? Is it a VPN network, or is it a private network? How is it, constructed? Is it secured enough? But then the other part of that is the usage for your end users and in basically interacting with that large language model. Because still, I mean, if you're interacting with large language model, you're always training it, right? It's always giving you some kind of feedback. And your users need to be trained enough not to give the opposite feedback and start a different, kind of a training process for that large language model to go in the other direction and start doing some wrong things, right? So definitely those are the risks. So there are not like security risks that is going to leak out there other than, your own organizational procedures that you cannot leak the data. But also I would say needs to be guidance and rule books for the users how to use that because just to not go into the other direction and start generating and training some wrong things. And this is why organizations nowadays are writing rule books for their employees how to interact and how to use LLMs.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I am thanking our speakers at the panel. Would you like to share some closing thoughts with us? Jelena, Miroslav, Stefan? Or we are just going to go to the lunch? So let us applaud.